Alright, so here's the gist of it. I grew up with my dad's games. You know, you hear me say that in like every single video. But I did mention that I also grew up with a bunch of guidebooks too. Subscribers also may recognize I have these old Link to the Past guidebook, and I like mentioned in my last video, you know, like the different arts of like temples and like locations and stuff like that. I used to read all of my dad's old books just to like have like a better grasp of like the world. It really filled in the gaps for like childhood me's imagination, as well as like explaining a bunch of lore. I really love Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time because like they kind of connect. They're kind of relevant to each other, to like their stories. Like there was a lot about their stories that were very highly considered and put to mind. But I bring these up specifically because while I finished my Link to the Past video, I went back and I actually found the old guidebooks, and I thought I only had one Ocarina of Time one. Apparently we had two, and as you can tell, these were very well loved. I just want to look over them a little bit, and just to like talk about them and whatnot. I'm going to skip the official book because the official book, in my opinion, is superior in its own ways. This one has like the same energy as like the Link to the Past one with like the pictures and stuff like that. But I'll go back to I'll come back to this one later. I want to go over this one because this one is a Prima guide. For those who don't know, Prima did a bunch of different guidebooks over the years from like maybe the NES days. I don't remember if they did NES days, but I know for a fact they had a bunch of like 90s guidebooks, and I think they shut down in like 2019. You know, for guidebooks, I think it's just hard to keep up when you have so many YouTube video tutorials instead. This one's also filled with like official arts and renders, but it's made really differently. I think I put all the pieces together. See, what makes this one very different from the official guide is this one is more technical. Sure, it does like the same thing where it's like, oh, like look, here's some of the past games that came out, you know, you got Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Link to the Past, Link's Awakening. But when it comes to the actual guide itself, it is littered with very perfect screenshots of like every single place and every single thing you have to do. For example, here, like if you look at the map, this is like a recreation of like the actual mini maps in the game. I don't think these are actually pulled from the game because like these look too perfect, I guess. Oh man, my hands look so ugly. Ugh. But basically, if you look, it tells you different points of interest, like, you know, Link's house, Saria's house, the house of the twins, the shop, Mido's house, the house of the Know-It-All brothers, and then 4 is the, what's it called? That's like the guy who teaches you sword stuff, but it also takes you to the Master Sword. So it's more of like a step-by-step guide of like where you need to go specifically. It's a more proper pathway. Yeah, no, if you see here, like all the screenshots tell you exactly where you need to go. And this one really helped me out when I was a kid, because I beat Ocarina of Time for the first time with these guidebooks. Yes, I did grow up watching my dad play it a lot, like back to back to back, so I did know a lot about these, but like a lot of the process of like where I need to go. But this helped me if I was ever lost or confused, especially since, like, you know, there's a difference between playing and watching. This guidebook is like the one that's for the completionists. You know what I mean? Going around and like looking at all the art or like locations. This is where like my nerdiness stems from. It's funny, my girlfriend always calls me like, oh yeah, you're such a big Zelda nerd. It's like, it's very interesting. Like you're so into this and whatnot. And like, you know, this is where it comes from. This is such a weird Lost Woods layout, actually. I don't remember this. Like, look at that. Like, this is accurate, I know, but like, it's so weird seeing it mapped out like this. Ugh. Yeah, this is where Skull Kid is. Oh, wait, yeah, I'm so stupid. Like, it tells you right here, like, every number. This is literally what I was just talking about. Why Kume and Kotake here? I think I put every single piece together. I like how, like, the child era pages are, like, so, like, simple and blank. Kind of like white backgrounds with like some characters like in the foreground and background. But then like after you get past Zora's Domain and like Jabu's, but I always loved Jabu because he was like he kept staying like shaped like a fish, even on the inside. Like here's like the inside of him, and like here's the mouth, here's the tail. It's crazy. If they ever remake Ocarina of Time, I hope they have like a massive Jabu that like you seamlessly go into. You know, it's crazy. But no, the reason I bring up this page is about to break. My dad really watches my videos, so as long as he doesn't see this, I'm fine. I'm not gonna die. Yeah, here's what I'm talking about. Like once you get past like the child era, everything starts becoming more colorful. I was saying this in like my video, which shouldn't be out yet by the time like I'm recording this, but like I think it is so weird that to me this guidebook is just as important as like the game itself, because for me like these two go hand in hand. What is the longest temple in this game, actually, now that I think about it? You know, I beat the water temple without a guide for the first time ever when I was like trying to 100% it. It's crazy. I know. Oh, is this the water temple? Oh my gosh, it's so ugly. You know, the water temple isn't that hard if you just like go from floor by floor. But every room needs like a better distinction from one another. Today, after I like write more of my script, I'm probably gonna go back and try to get the remaining Skulltulas. I'm missing like 4. I'm literally missing 4. I know one of them I need the... Oh, I remember I used to love this page. I thought it was so cool because, I'm not gonna lie, as a toddler, the Deku Babas used to scare me so much. Damn. I used to think Impa was so hot. I still do, I ain't gonna lie. Oh, this is that art. I really want them to do this sequence in the game. I don't know if you can tell from the background art, but there's like this sequence that never happens in the game where like Sheik and Link are like fighting hordes of enemies. If they ever remake Ocarina of Time, I want that. Make it like a Kingdom Hearts 2 like 1000 Heartless boss fight. My dad used to have some like Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf figures. Oh, I don't know where Ganondorf is. I remember his arms used to pop all the time. Link's hair and like hat ended up falling off, and it comes with like a little Master Sword and Hylian shield that would easily break, and I did break it. But the Zelda stayed the same. The only thing that's messed up is her nose, actually. Hold on. I literally have her situated right behind my Nintendo 64. Ganondorf was the only one that can move his shoulders and arms, but yeah, no, I have like this Zelda. Her nose, like I said, it's a little busted up, but like her arms move and she can spin, you know. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. Hell no. I used to play with those Zelda toys all the time. And Link had like a little hole in his fist where you can put like the Master Sword. And I would replace it with the He-Man sword all the time because my dad had like a He-Man figure. I never got into He-Man now that I think about it, yeah. I used to watch a little bit of She-Ra back on like there's like a channel called Cubo, and like in the middle of the night, She-Ra would play sometimes. Oh yeah, the Pieces of Heart locations. This was always in the back of the books. How to find those golden spiders. This was $15. That's so expensive. Nowadays, this would probably, like if this still existed now, this would probably be like 30 or 40. This reminds me, there's like this is completely unrelated. There's like this guy on Etsy that makes little guidebooks for the Nintendo Switch. So like you can have like a little manual that looks like a manual that belongs in the game. All right, now it's time for the other one. This is such a like just chill, relaxed video. I just want to talk about like my old guidebooks and look through them. And okay, I liked this one's depiction of the Zelda games, because if you look at Prima's was like technical. Just bring out the ripped guidebook, yeah. Like this one would be more technical. Like it would tell you like, oh, the type of game it is, and like, oh, what are you doing, you know? And this one actually acknowledges Link's Awakening. I just realized this one does not acknowledge Link's Awakening at all. But this one, this is written more from the perspective of lore. Like Ocarina of Time was, like Link to the Past was always made as the intention of a sequel, like a prequel to Zelda 1 and 2. And then this game was always meant to be a prequel to Link to the Past from the very beginning. There, as much as people like to argue about the Zelda timeline, there are some games that have a very clear continuity, but at the same time they are made in a way where you can enjoy them with or without following such lore. Me, because of these guidebooks and like the constant reference back and forth to Ocarina of Time and Link to the Past, and how Link to the Past says stuff that will eventually appear or like is mentioned from Ocarina of Time like later on, like that back and forth was what made me such like a timeline lover, and I still am. I still love the timeline. It still does hurt a little bit about how it is thrown to the side just because of that, but like I don't mind. Like to me, anyone can enjoy a game however they want. You know, if you want to enjoy your game without like being like thinking about the timeline at all, that's completely fine. This is just like people like me just like this type of stuff, you know. It's unfortunate. You just can't make everyone happy. Oh, I used to love this item page. It was very recent. These were like the highest quality versions of these images because they all get crunched up when they're actually in the game. This was like the most high resolution renders of these images at the time, I'm pretty sure, until that Nintendo leak that happened. One thing that always confused me was my dad would never use Nehru's Love, and I think it was because of how much magic it consumed. He always liked reserving his magic when he played. I remember that. Same thing with the ice arrows. Like the ice arrows, like he would never use them because there was never really a use for the ice arrows. They always came at such a later part of the game. The issue with this guidebook, which you'll see later, is while the Prima one is for more so completionists, this guidebook, being official, has the same mentality as Nintendo of like telling players where to go without giving everything away, which is something I always liked because it left a room for exploration. It makes me think of that whole Hakoniwa thing that from that Good Blood video. Oh, this was one of my favorite pages too. So like you had like the full map of Hyrule like render, kind of like the one from the Prima guide, but there was also like a version of it you could open up that I'm gonna like loosen this a little bit. Yeah, like you have a page here so you could write your notes, and like you can see some of my old scribbles, but you also have like pages where you could write down the other songs when you unlock them, as well as right here there being a space for your Scarecrow song. Yeah, I always loved this guidebook for like how it had such clear depictions of everything. Man, do you see this? Oh my gosh, this needs to be like cleaned up. I'm gonna loosen this a little bit. Yeah, it's so interesting how like, because the Haunted Wasteland is just like this massive desert, they made it look like this. Although one thing that would always throw me off was I always assumed that the desert was here because of the way that the map is shaped, and I guess because of the way the map leads you, it looks like it's here, but in reality the Desert Colossus is like in the northwest. Of course there is desert here. There is desert here, like lore wise, but this is where it actually is. I used to love these depictions, like Hylia. I like this because this was like an accurate to scale map. Like the path up to Death Mountain and Goron City, and my cable is getting in the way, Shadow Temple, everything like that. Just the little Jabu Jabu. Yeah. Also it was weird how the Prima guide had the Lost Woods, but like, because in my head, I would always picture this map every time I play the game. One of the other reasons I really love the game, like, yeah, it gives you hints on where you need to go, and like there's different like things. It doesn't like, it directly leads you to some places, but not while not giving everything away. You'll see the same thing at the end of the book with like the locations of Skulltulas. Like it'll tell you where things are, but some things are written like a hint. When the waterfall froze, it stranded a Skulltula high above the frozen paradise. You know, like that could be like anywhere above, but obviously you know where it would be. I actually need to look at that because I need to look at the 4 Skulltulas I'm missing. But I also used to really love this. It would have like full like in-game pictures, but like zoomed out all the way. What was it? Did I draw on this? I have like a Skulltula like partially crossed out with a bunch of pencil. That's funny. And the maps of like aside from like the maps of locations, the maps of dungeons were all colored, so like you could see like where everything is of what. Like this is where Goma's larvae are like hanging about. I find it interesting, like the different styles in this book. Like yeah, you have like the normal Ocarina of Time renders and like art of characters like Gabora, but you also have like these, like this Gossip Stone 100% looks like something it would be out of the Link to the Past manuals or like art. Same thing with all these characters. like look at Malon carrying like the actual Ocarina of Time art style, and then look at these Link to the Past style guards. It's so weird. Oh, there's one character that stands out above all of these. It is completely different. The cow, I don't remember there being an image of a cow. Cuckoos. I need to find that picture. Oh, see, look, this is the other one I'm telling you about. Lost Woods. I love how they're zoomed out and they look nice. Death Mountain always confused me. The Trail Up always confused me. But no, I'm getting distracted. I need to find that image that suits neither style. It's at Lake Hylia. Oh man, the art of these places is so beautiful. I always found it weird that the Dongo bones are like blue and green. This is 100% like the skull of like a massive Gagongo? No. Dodongo. Yeah, this fits Ocarina of Time style. It's so interesting how some enemies got rent like Armos. Meanwhile, the frogs out here looking like Link to the Past. A lot of Link to the Past's art had a lot of realism to it. Yeah, here he is. He fits neither style. Like, every time I see the Scarecrow, I always think it is the most, like, unnecessarily... I don't know, it just looks rushed. Yeah, we got Jabu Jabu. He's so massive. I love Jabu Jabu. I love all the Ocarina of Time, like, characters and enemies and whatnot that returned in Echoes of Wisdom. I feel like Echoes of Wisdom is the perfect balance of, like, Link to the Past while keeping, like, a lot of elements from Ocarina of Time and a bunch of other Zelda games. You know, I never thought that this boss was an anemone, and, like, here's Jabu Jabu's insides. It's all fleshy. Looks like Super Meat Boy. You know, oh my gosh, you know, I went to a doctor's office when I was a kid. The doctor had this framed on the wall. He had, like, a massive version of this, like, poster size, like, framed on a wall. I need an Ocarina of Time poster for my wall. Do you see this? I need an Ocarina of Time poster on this wall. It's funny, I have Metroid Dread posters, but I don't even own the game. Metroid Dread is, like, the game that's been on my wish list the longest. Now, Redeads used to always creep me out, because they were like... It's strange, because there are people who debate whether they're undead or not. Like, I don't know. I see them as undead, but at the same time, there's a lot of evidence pointing to them just not being undead and just being creations that look like they're undead. I think if you were to rip off, like, the face of a Redead, they would just completely die altogether. I'm pretty sure it's just like a cursed mask. That's my thought. I love the color of, like, areas like this. Just so, like, this guide was the reason why I wasn't lost. But because of, like, how limited and brief the information would be here, I would constantly be, like, going back and forth between this one and the Prima one. Also, but damn, but jam. I still wonder what the Forest Temple was supposed to be like originally. I assume the sages built every single one of the temples. Like ancient sages. Like, I feel like Raru built this one, and then two of the other ancient sages. No, sorry, Raru built the Temple of Time. Whoever the past Forest sage built this one. And then like whoever the Fire Water sage were built the other ones, right? Meanwhile, I think the Shadow Temples temple is, because of the way the Shadow Temple's kind of like layered and stuff like that, I think, like, the torture chamber side of things was made during the Civil War. Meanwhile, like, the rest of the, like, actual temple was, or like the torture chamber stuff was built on top of the original temple, rather. Does that make sense? It's kind of random. And then, like, sometime a long time ago, like, the City of the Spirit originally built the Spirit Temple, maybe, I don't know, like, before they were worship, like, their goddess of sand and whatnot. Yeah. It's to be fair, there is so much evidence of, like, the sages existing for, like, a long time, even before Ocarina of Time. Back in at least Skyward Sword, like, the first ever hint of, like, being the first ever iteration of sages, even before the ancient sages, like, Raru was probably, like Skyward Sword. Kind of like the anyway, I'm just rambling about theories. You know, in another timeline, I'd be a Zelda theorist, but I get so lost in my writing sometimes that, like, I forget what the main point of my videos are. You probably notice that in my videos too. I always, like, stray off topic or don't know where I'm going. Here we got the Water Temple. You know, people always forget about the official art for the Forest Temple, Water Temple, and Fire Temple, I feel like. The real art that's remembered a lot is the one for the Spirit Temple, this one. I'm just, like, looking through all this stuff. I always like the art of the Gerudo. The Gerudo art is, like, the only one I think is, like, great looking in the Link to the Past style. I don't know why, but I would have loved to see them, like, drawn in the same style as, like, they do look like in game. Also, I don't think I mentioned it, but me and my dad have the 1.0 version of the cartridge, which was censored in, like, the 1.5 and 2.0 version because it had, like, blood, and the Gerudo symbol looked very similar to an Islamic symbol. I always forget the name of it, so sorry about that. But yeah, here it is. Yeah, like, our version of the game has this. There's also, like, I believe the Fire Temple had, like, religious chanting as well, and that also needed to be censored. It was found, like, they, like, used, like, the same demo disc in the music that had that, and they just didn't know. They just thought it sounded cool. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, guys. When I was a kid... No, I'm not getting into that. Twinrova is probably one of my favorite boss fights, though. I do like the elemental, like, fire, ice boss fights. I think my second favorite that's like this is the one from Spirit Tracks. Although the one that was only fire in Phantom Hourglass was a lot better. Ganon's Tower is so interesting because, again, I don't know why. Like, so you have this massive tower, right? This massive tower is, like, his symbol of, like, power and fear. Like, and like his grip over Hyrule, right? It is like a fortress. It is tall, it is scary, and it's floating over a pit of lava, right? You need to make a rainbow bridge to go over it. But one thing I find so interesting is that when you go inside, it makes him seem like a coward. Because here is like the inside when you go in, right? But the actual place where you go to fight him is here at the center, and it's surrounded by a force field. And the only way to get through is you have to break all like the things around to like break the barrier. But it's like you have a massive fortress, and now you're telling me like when you go inside, it's a fortress guarded by a fortress, and between them is like a force field. It's like, what are you hiding from? What are you scared of? But oh man, I love this art so much. This is what I would frame. This is like my favorite piece of Zelda art. I wish there was a Twilight Princess equivalent of this as well, of like Link fighting Ganondorf. And here's the art that's my favorite. So this was the only thing in like my dad's cartridge I remember that was not 100%ed. Like his file, we both thought for years was like 100% completed until I played it when I was a kid, and I saw that this was the only quest he didn't do. And it's because like he like forgot it or something like that. So he had these two, and then this one. But we never figured out who to give the bunny hood to. And so I found the guy who put the bunny hood to back when I was like 13 or something like that. Keep in mind, I've been watching him play since I was like 4 or 5. And then I got the Mask of Truth, and I freaked out because I used to watch a bunch of Zelda theorists that would talk about like the Mask of Truth and like lore, like from talking to like the what's it called, the gossip stones. And another thing I find really interesting, because I always wondered how to unlock these when I was a kid. You can wear masks of Gorons, Zoras, and Gerudos, and you can get like different reactions from people. And so I had seen reactions with like the Goron and Zora masks, and I thought it was like the exact same as like Majora's Mask and whatnot, because we didn't own a Majora's Mask, so like I didn't really care too much about them. The only ones I made a big deal about were the Mask of Truth, again for the lore, and also the Gerudo mask, because I thought it was so cool that like you could be like wearing a Gerudo mask. And like I wished that they kept it in Majora's Mask when I played it for the first time, because I was like, I want to be a Gerudo. They're so cool. Like, do you see like the way they do flips, and they like dual wield and stuff like that. Yeah, here's the renders for the trading quest. Trading quest is so much fun. I didn't know you could do it so early in the game. I was watching Zelda Master and Zeltic. Yes, it was a Zeltic? Yeah, it's Zeltic. They were playing this game, and instead of doing the Forest Temple first, they did the Fire Temple first, and immediately after the Fire Temple, they went and got the Begoron sword. I was like, that's possible? I like playing like the dungeons out of order. Like sometimes I'll get the key item and then I'll leave and then go back to like a different dungeon and like get that item and then move to the next dungeon. But nah, that's crazy. You know, Piece of Heart locations, it also tells you like which Link you have to be to get. Oh my goodness. I'm missing 2 pieces of heart. Okay, yeah, and like after this, for the Skulltulas, oh yeah, magic beans, it tells you where to plant every magic bean as well. For the Skulltulas, however, it does not tell you where to get them. Instead, it gives you a hint as to where to get them, and and like a little chart here telling you if you can get it at night or at day, and which Link you have to be. Like it tells you location and grottos. Anyways, I've been ranting for so long. Yep, these guidebooks were very well loved, along with my Mario one and Link to the Past one, and man, these are really special to me. I'm so glad I got to the point where I finally mustered up the courage to make videos about all the games I grew up with, because it is so nice to share I don't know, just like things from my childhood, things I like. And I hope I can keep the same vibe that I always try to go for, where I try to make my videos feel like I'm talking to a friend and like telling them like everything like I was into. I hope that's the feeling I give off in some of my videos. Sometimes I can be a little bit too technical, but hey, if you know me in real life, like sometimes I can be very like serious and specific. Like I'll sound like my friends get mad at me saying I have a YouTuber voice. But man, they're like, stop. This is one time they're like, stop talking. Every time you talk about something you like, you make me want to buy it. I should do a randomizer stream. I've only played a randomizer and beat it once. That'd be fun. But anyways, I gotta finish this video. And I gotta go stream Peak tomorrow and Code Veronica, just so you have a frame of reference as to when this was. Yeah. Hope you all stay for my videos going over my childhood and my videos experiencing Resident Evil games for the first time. And by the time this video comes out, I should be nearing 4,000 subscribers, so thank you for that too. Anyways, see you on the next one. God bless, and have a good day. Or night. Anyways.